Aloha, it's Katie, and I just finished my sophomore year, spring semester at Cornell University. I'm officially an information science major. I just affiliated in the College of Arts and Sciences. My interests right now are tech, design, and entrepreneurship, but I'm 19, I don't know what I'm doing. And I also just like taking a lot of random classes each year. Like I've taken food science, climate and energy, behavioral economics. You'll find in all of my 4 videos, and that's one reason I chose to study at Cornell in the first place, is because it's such a great place to explore so many different majors for people who are super curious and have many different interests. For each course, I will start with a summary, how the class was structured and the workload, then finally my overall review of the experience. Also note, if you are a CS major or a prospective CS major, which is very popular at Cornell, I used to be a CS major my freshman year. So if you check out my first 2 courses I took video, you'll notice that my curriculum was a lot more engineering based, and yeah, just thought I should share that in case you find it interesting. But anyway, we're gonna get started. The first class I took was Designing New Ventures. The course provides an overview of several elements of entrepreneurial activity and private equity investment. Guys, I promise I'm not a sellout. You will engage in the customer discovery process for early stage ventures to learn how to develop a sustainable, scalable business model. As part of this course, you will apply your learnings from discussions in the classroom and participate on a team going through the experience of starting a company. So this class meets twice a week. We have weekly readings. The workload I'd say is light to average, and we have to make 4 presentations, 1 final pitch, and 1 final business plan write-up. How this class would work is every time we would meet, we would have a lecture about some topic, probably some aspect of the business model canvas, and then we would do activities in the class where we would apply it to our own startup idea. Literally the first week of class, the professors were just like, who here is a founder? Go line up in front right now and pitch your idea to all of us. And that's how we formed teams. The topics we covered are the business model canvas, case studies, sources of capital, legal issues, and how to pitch. Overall, this is my favorite class. It was so applicable and it connected a lot with what I was doing with human-centered design for web and mobile apps. It was really cool to find a lot of similarities between an entrepreneur's typical customer discovery process and a product designer's user research process. So this class is actually a graduate level course that is geared towards juniors and seniors, so I had to email the professor and tell them why I wanted to take it, and then ask for a specific course pin that would give me access to the code, and they were super chill about it, and a 10 out of 10 recommend to anyone who's curious about entrepreneurship or starting a startup, business, you name it. The professors have tons of experience and most of them run the accelerator at Cornell. The second class is College Dorm Microbiology. Microbial habitats are literally everywhere on a college campus. From the athlete locker room to the kitchen to the bathroom to between the sheets, college students are exposed to a plethora of microorganisms that are benign, beneficial, and pathogenic. The goal of this class is for students to learn about microbiology and microbial ecology as it relates to them. The workload for this class, again, was light to average. It met twice a week. We had 1 discussion section. There were weekly homeworks, and our final tests were 2 prelims or midterms and 1 final. Note though that because of the whole COVID situation, we actually ended up just merging the second prelim and the final in 1. This was definitely my fun class of the semester. I need to fulfill my physical and biological sciences requirement to graduate, so I chose this class, and it was one of the best decisions I've made. I was actually choosing between this class and a personal genomics class. I was kind of hesitant to take this one because it was so far away from campus, and by far away I just mean like 5-minute bus ride or 20-minute walk, which is far for Cornell, but it was so worth it. The professor was super hip and engaged. He really tried to relate to students and honestly did a good job. He would make skits for us at the start of every class of him having dandruff or popping his it, because those were the topics we'd cover, but I found it so applicable. I've never taken a bio class before. I took chemistry in high school and I didn't even want to take a science. I just had to. Well, I 10 out of 10 would recommend this class even if you have 0 bio experience and are just curious about how the world works, because this really gave me a new perspective. And not gonna lie, the start was pretty intimidating because sometimes a lot of just bio terms would be thrown around, and I was like, if this is gonna be on the midterm, I really don't know. But the midterms ended up being really fair. We didn't go too deep into any topic, but it was just in lectures that the professor would explain it deeper for people who wanted to know more or could understand. But for me, it was pretty challenging. The best part about this class though was how relevant it really was to our lives, and I learned so much better when I can clearly see the application of something in my life. Some topics included growing up, zits, dandruff, bad breath, Bathrooms, mold and waterborne diseases like E. coli. The locker room, so swimming pools, fungal diseases like athlete's foot, pink eye, etc. The bedroom, herpes, HIV, AIDS. We, not gonna lie, saw some pretty graphic images. There was also alcohol and drinking, and the kitchen, so foodborne diseases and seafood microbiology. Overall, I learned how nasty bacteria could be, and my mama was right. For you ladies, don't sit on the toilets. Squat. Next class I took was intermediate design and programming for the web. Web programming requires the cooperation of two machines, the one in front of the viewer, the client, and the one delivering the content, the server. Info 1300 concentrates almost exclusively on the client side. The main emphasis in Info 2300 is learning about server-side processing. Students begin with a short overview of the PHP server-side scripting language, then look at interactions with databases, learning about querying via the database language SQL. Through a succession of projects, students learn how to apply this understanding to the creation of an interactive, data-driven site via PHP and the MySQL database. Topics we covered include databases, file uploads, search engines, cookies, login, logout, and password. The languages we used were PHP, SQL. This was all built upon the languages we learned in Info 1300, including HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So workload above average. This was probably my hardest class of the semester, and relatively a pretty chill semester, I'll say. We meet twice a week. We have one discussion section. There are weekly labs and assignments. In total, we had 4 projects and 10 labs. Note though that because of COVID-19, we ended up doing 3 projects instead of 4. First of all, I want to say I really enjoyed this class, and it got me pretty interested in back-end development. I think I've always thought of myself as more a front-end developer who, designs like the website, the part that interacts with the user. But after taking this class, I thought back-end was pretty cool too, with, things that happen behind the scenes of how you process user data. If any of you are considering taking this class after taking Info 1300, note though that it is a lot more programming and a lot more CS concepts, I will say. Next is team projects. So this isn't a typical class. These are called project teams, and they're a very specific program unique to Cornell and our engineering department. So they actually award students credit for it, and that's why I'm including it in my classes I took, even though it was I never really treated it like a class. I got graded for it as if it was a class, and I got credit for it as if it was a class, and it boosted my GPA. Which I've been really trying to salvage since CS freshman year, honestly. But for schools that do have similar programs, Cornell's is actually the largest in the US. So basically, I joined a project team this year called DTI, or Design and Tech Initiative, which is a software development team that builds web and mobile apps. The entire team works on around 5 to 6 apps on Android, iOS, or on the web that real students use. So all the members of this team will get assigned to a specific app, and there I work as a product designer with product managers, front-end developers, back-end developers, and even a business team. The workload is average. We meet 3 to 4 times a week, and it's because number one, we have the all team. I also have design critique with all the other product designers, and it's time for us to give feedback to each other and improve our designs before we ship them off to developers. And last are 2-on-1 syncs I have with my PM, product manager, and the other designer on the team. So it's obviously not structured the same way as a class in that we have tests, but we do have deliverables every week. It's such a unique opportunity to be able to work in a software development team and see the entire process of a product come into fruition, from user research into the final product that students actually use on a day-to-day basis. I'm out of words because I look back at my high school self and think of the projects I tried to start with building apps. I struggled so much getting it off the ground. I never knew what made a good application from a design perspective, from a development perspective, or even from a team perspective, because it was always just me working on it alone. But really, I have so newfound inspiration at the possibilities of creating products when you have a team, and I think it's given me just an inside look to what industry standards are like nowadays. This has also inspired me to create a lot more side hustle projects. If you're curious, if you don't have an internship or you're looking for things to do this summer, I would highly recommend you check out the video I did on how to start a side hustle project. These are things I wish I knew when I was trying to bring my ideas to life, and they ultimately failed. I also want to just plug our newest product that my friends have been working super hard on. It's called Course Plan. We just launched the beta version, so you have to sign up to get early access, but it's a 4-year planner that will help you organize your classes and track your progress towards graduation. Cornell class of 2024 and 2023, I'm looking at you. Another one I love is CU Reviews. So that's Cornell's version of Rate My Professor, but you'll find student ratings about classes so you can see what students thought of it in terms of difficulty, workload, and overall experience. Obviously, we have a lot of other cool products, but these are the 2 I'd recommend check out, and I would link down below if you're interested. Next class, Modern Web Development. This 10-week student-led class will teach students about modern web development technologies, practices, and industry standards to better equip them for academic work, research, and full-time employment. Topics include Intro to Node, Express Routes, and HTTP methods, React, JavaScript, Firebase, and how to bridge the front end and back end together. The workload was average. We met once a week for lectures. We had weekly assignments and one final project. It was very straightforward. It was a student-led class by DT as well. This class was super relevant and timely because I had been building the Donate COVID-19.org website project, and even though I built that with just HTML and CSS, which I learned in Info 1300, I started to learn React and Firebase from this class, and that's exactly where we took the website just a few weeks after I started taking the class. So it was super fitting, and I thought this class was so much more applicable to industry standard development. Last class, my favorite. No shade. Information Ethics, Law, and Policy. This course investigates the ethical, legal, and policy foundations of contemporary information technology. We will address contemporary challenges ranging from privacy and big data and social computing to the nature of innovation, property, and collaboration in a network world. We will cover key areas of technology, law, and policy, such as telecommunications and network policy, concentration and antitrust, free speech and the First Amendment, intellectual property and privacy, security and freedom of information. The workload was light. Maybe it's also because I did not always keep up with readings, to be honest. But we met twice a week. We had one discussion. We had weekly readings, which, like I said, I didn't really do. For a test, we had 3 policy memos and 1 final. Because of COVID-19, we ended up only doing 2 policy memos instead of 3. I took this class because it was a required course for the information science major. To be honest, I was really engaged, and this is one of the classes I really enjoyed being able to watch at 2x speed when Zoom started. But that said, I loved the discussion section. And I think for classes like this that are supposed to train you to become more of a critical thinker, discussions are probably the most important in my opinion. Like, of course you will need to do readings and, show up to lectures, which I do, to gain the foundation. But after that, I think what has engaged me the most is talking to people and, challenging their ideas and having them challenge my ideas. I had so much fun and would even talk to my friend about this class after discussion ended. To give you a better idea of the things we discussed, one time in discussion section, we talked about certain apps like Tinder, which was assumed to embed certain values like matching people of similar races to other similar races because they thought they would have a higher affinity towards their own. But what is the tech app to decide that? And in doing so, are they actually promoting segregation? And it's not to dispute the fact that historically, more people may have dated within their ethnicity, but what underlying issues are apps actually aggravating in doing so? Another example is on eBay, where female sellers earn less than that of their male counterpart. And for apps like Uber, black drivers are less likely to be selected than white drivers. So does technology unknowingly aggravate inequality, especially for minorities and marginalized groups? These are some of the conversations we would have, and I found it really fascinating. Overall, this class just exposed a lot of tech companies for me, and it made me equally disgusted as I was in awe of how they were able to create a powerful and strategic network. Those were all the classes I took. If you're still curious about college life in Cornell and how junior year and senior year pans out for me, then make sure to subscribe, join the Aloha. You can also DM me at AlohaKDX if you have any questions. I will try my best to reply, but I'm a bit slow and not on social media as much nowadays, not gonna lie. I wish you the best, and thank you for your support as always. See you in less than a week with another new video. Bye guys.